What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure to many people's surprise, today we are not going to be talking about Josh Giddey. It's time to celebrate. But at the end of the day, we will be talking about a mock trade that involves one of our players. It's an interesting mock trade and it involves a team that's probably in a similar position with the Chicago Bulls, but we're going to be talking about Patrick Williams. We'll talk about what the deal involves, why both teams, I guess, could be interested, and ultimately, is this a deal worth taking for either team at this stage of free agency heading into our next upcoming season. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know what you guys think about Patrick Williams and the likelihood that this mock trade could go through, as well as maybe if this trade isn't the ideal trade, what is your ideal trade for Patrick Williams if you had one? Where would you like to see him go? Who would you like to see in return? Could it be a realistic option for the $18 million per season player? With that being said, we're going to mention the team. It is the Toronto Raptors, and the deal entails of this. Firstly, the Bulls would have to give up Patrick Williams, Jevon Carter, and a first round pick in order to get RJ Barrett from the Toronto Raptors. We should probably do a little bit of comparisons between the two players at this stage in their career. So I'll talk about age first. RJ Barrett, if I'm not mistaken, is 25 years of age, and Patrick Williams is now 23 years of age. So essentially, players relatively close in age, but one player's experience level is leaps and bounds beyond the other. Patrick Williams has been a starter for the majority of his career, but he hasn't really lived up to heights we've expected. RJ Barrett has been second options on teams. He's even been first options on teams, and he's coming into this Toronto Raptors team as a very viable offensive option. So instantly, he comes into the Chicago Bulls. If he was to come in here, he is the better player, first and foremost. He's a guard compared to Patrick Williams' forward play. I mean, RJ Barrett, you could kind of shift him into that small forward area as well, but he's a guy that's going to be trying to do the ball handling stuff. He's going to try to score out there. He's good at driving to the rim. I believe he's a left-handed player as well, if I'm not mistaken, so that adds extra layer to our capabilities on the offensive end and the slashing and everything. So all in all, this deal does feel a little bit one-sided in terms of quality per se, because the Bulls are getting rid of a player that averaged 9 points per game, whereas RJ Barrett, for the most of his career, averaged more than 15, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't think we necessarily get too worse defensively, because I don't think RJ Barrett is a bad defender either. He's just in a different position. And with Matas Buzelis taking an extra leap, we've got Isaac Okoro. I still believe defensively will be at least viable this upcoming season. Getting rid of Jevon Carter, to me, is like you're just throwing in someone for the sake of throwing in someone, in all honesty. Again, when you get guys like Kamawara coming into the team, I wouldn't really be upset with Jevon Carter leaving. But the big thing here is obviously going to be the first round pick. So that's kind of what you would be giving up. That's the kind of situation we're dealing with. And we are dealing with a player that would come into the Chicago Bulls and I think make a dramatic impact to the team. Now, when you're getting rid of someone of the quality of RJ Barrett, comes with a price tag alongside of his name, ladies and gentlemen. So we should talk about his contract next. We know Patrick Williams is making $18 million per season. We know that that's a hefty amount for what he's been able to produce. But we also know that $18 million, when the salary cap is rising at this capacity, is also a tradable contract in the near future. Even if it isn't now, it's a tradable contract if we want to trade it. So it's not the end of the world to keep an $18 million contract on this team right now. With RJ Barrett, you are getting $26 million per season, if I'm not mistaken. An annual fee of around $26 million per season. Now, I think personally, when you're talking about the Bulls, and some of the biggest positives we have heading into future free agencies is the cap room that we currently possess in our hands. My question is, should we be trying to make that jump and going for, I guess, a big increase in the salary? I mean, we're already seeing how we're playing hardball with Josh Giddey. I shouldn't have mentioned his name, I'm sorry. But, you know, we already see how we're playing hardball with certain people. And you're trying to see how the Bulls are saving some money. So getting rid of an $18 million contract to get a $26 million contract into the team for 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure how many years is left on it, but it was a 4-year contract. Yeah, there's a lot of questions there, in all honesty, about why the Bulls would do such a thing at this point in their NBA career. I also want to turn to the Raptors. Why would the Raptors be interested in a deal like this? Well, according to everybody, every article I've read, and pretty much everybody that has an opinion on the NBA, they claim that the Raptors have the worst future in the NBA. So, this would be a step in getting their future back on track, if that's what the rumors and claims are to be. Now, with that being said, Patrick Williams, 23 years of age, a little bit younger. You also get some salary cap off of your books. So that's why you get Patrick Williams in, even if it is a long contract for $18 million. You also get a first round pick. And I'll be honest with you, if you bring RJ Barrett into the Chicago Bulls, as good as it may be, it won't get us to championship success. So adding RJ Barrett in here is still probably going to get you, in my opinion, and we could still be a playing tournament team with RJ Barrett in here, because I really think we need a superstar to make the difference in this team at the moment. I truly believe that. So RJ Barrett coming in, sure, would be a nice addition, of course. You get Josh Giddey and you re-sign him, and you get RJ Barrett to play alongside of him with Kobe White. We get better scoring, better offense. It's lovely. It's beautiful. It's exactly what you want to see. But I think we need a big difference in terms of maybe a superstar or a dynamic way that we can use our forwards and big men at the moment. That's what I think we really desperately need. So getting in, I guess, I kind of lost my train of thought, but, you know, us kind of finishing in that mid-season tournament area, if we did get RJ Barrett, brings the Toronto Raptors an extra first-round pick that we could use and that we probably need. So I see why the Raptors would want to do this if they really believe their future is bleak. But if I'm being perfectly honest here, I don't personally see why any team is interested in a deal like this. I'll talk about it from the Bulls side of things, since we are the Bulls. We're a Bulls channel, Bulls fan channel. I think the Chicago Bulls at the moment should be keeping their picks and keeping their assets close to their chests. And I think you need to get deals that are too good to refuse. Now, you might look at RJ Barrett as a deal that's too good to refuse, but because of bringing in RJ Barrett, you could potentially jeopardize the re-signing of Kobe White. You could potentially jeopardize the potential money you could pay Matas Buzelis. You could potentially jeopardize Josh Giddey's extension as well if you were going to do something like that. So it's a lot of risk by bringing in an RJ Barrett. And you lose a first-round pick. And the Bulls need to keep their picks at the moment. We've made this mistake of trading our first-round picks for talent that's already been in the NBA before. We did it with Vucevic. We traded picks for Lonzo Ball, if I'm not mistaken, 2 second-round picks at least. We traded some picks for DeMar DeRozan. So I don't want to see the Bulls go down that route of not owning their own first-round picks or giving them to certain teams, whatever the case may be. We need to keep our first-round picks. And to be honest, we're not in a position to compete with RJ Barrett or without RJ Barrett. In fact, I look at the Toronto Raptors team. There's a little bit of unbalance there, but I mean, assuming Brandon Ingram will eventually be healthy and ready to play for that team, they're a team that's going to cause problems in the NBA, and they're probably going to find a way to make it into the playing tournament in of themselves. So I just don't feel like it's a logical outcome for either team at the moment to be going all in on this sort of deal. Would it benefit the Bulls? Absolutely. But I think this deal benefits the Bulls if we already have a foundation in place that we could truly see as viable. This makes sense for the Bulls if we had that superstar already here and that we're getting that second or third option in. That'd be a lovely addition, RJ Barrett. And if we did end up pulling off a deal like this, it'd be a lovely addition to the team right now. But the problem is, we don't have the foundation ready to bring in an RJ Barrett and to go and, you know, compete for a championship per se. You get RJ Barrett, we may make the playoffs with RJ Barrett because his talent is enough, in my opinion, alongside of the quality of the team that we have to be in a playoff push. But if you're talking championship success, even second round success, that is where I struggle with getting in RJ Barrett, because I feel like it still gets us in a place we don't want to be, and that's in the middle of the pack, which is annoying. I mean, no one wants to be there. So to sum it up, look, I understand the mock trade. I understand why the Bulls would want to do this. It does take them to the next step of competing, but it also brings a lot of salary involved, and that is where the confusion may be, and we also lose our pick. I can understand it from the Raptors side of things in the sense that their future is in jeopardy and they're trying to save their future at the moment. They get Patrick Williams, who's a younger asset, less money. They also get a first-round pick in there as well. They get a veteran in Javon Carter that can maybe help stir the ship a little bit. He's also a viable three-point shooter on their team, and I think their team very much lacks three-point shooting. I can understand why something like this would make sense. I just don't think this is the right time for either team to pull off a deal like this. Let's see how Matas Buzelis turns out in the next 3 years, 2 years even. Let's let Matas Buzelis develop. Let's let guys build. Maybe we do those re-signings of Kobe White and Josh Giddey. And then you kind of have the option to explore trades like this with RJ Barrett and explore trades that could bring in viable options to get us to the next level. If Matas Buzelis turns out to be the superstar we're looking for, this deal would be exceptional for the Bulls. You may have an argument of a little bit too little too late. I mean, contracts would be expiring by then. RJ Barrett probably won't have much years left on his current contract, but that could be a good thing as well. We might not have to pay RJ Barrett $26 million per season in 4 years' time. We might not have to do that. We might not have to pay we might keep Patrick Williams around and we don't have to pay him $18 million per season. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot to think about, but I just don't think this is the right time. But if they say, you know what, this is the move we're making, I won't be upset. I'll tell you that much. I won't be upset. But it would be interesting to see how the team lines up with a guy like RJ Barrett in there, considering he is a different player to Patrick Williams. Anyway, what do you think? Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care. And peace.